So just want to do a quick, intro of myself. I'm a career nonprofit philanthropy leader. This has been my scope of work all of 25 years, starting in direct service and then wrapping up what I like to call my W-2 life in philanthropy, building a benefit cost analysis philanthropy. And then sort of, I think, stumbling into technology and AI and now becoming a bit more of a technology leader. You can see the URLs here to the different websites, which we'll share with you afterwards. But I'm excited. We're here to help build the field and help us understand how to use AI effectively. And so I hope you get something out of this today. I'm going to highlight my partner, Will, who I think is listening on. Will, do you want to come off and introduce yourself?
Thank you, Ryan. Welcome, everyone. Will Mendoza, Torrico. I am the partner in crime with Ryan here, trying to build Copilot Studio. I have over 2 decades of experience in uh, technology-enabled transformation, process optimization, um, for about 10 years in nonprofits, a lot of it in the private sector. And for the past 5 years, I've been working on AI and how to better integrate it into our workflows and processes. I'm very, very excited to be here and also ready to learn a little bit more about Copilot. It's never ending story. If somebody tells you that they're an expert, they're probably lying. We're all learning every day at the same time. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thanks, Will. Just quickly, this is just a little snapshot of what you find on Copilot Studio. We are in the AI working sessions, so the free sessions we offer, which are every week. And then in a few weeks, we're launching our first three-session series on governance, policy, ethics, process mapping, identifying use cases. So if you're interested in diving into more detail at a deeper level and you're ready to look at governance policy before you even get to I'm buying a bunch of tools and I don't know what to do, please sign up. Go to completer.studio and you can do that. And then last plug is go to completer.ai and sign up for the platform, launch your first research projects, and I will gladly take all your input and feedback and would love to have you in that with us. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing screen and introduce my friend Dave Bachmeyer. If I can get back to so I can see all of you. Dave and I go way back. I won't tell all the stories, but we've known each other for a long time. A friend, somebody I've respected, who's been a longtime Microsoft employee and an expert in his space, and very graciously and willingly is offering his time in building the field of AI use in nonprofits and philanthropy for the session. And so he is the expert in Copilot. I will also be learning from him as he goes through it. And feel free to jump in, ask questions, and he's going to take us through a great session today. To you, Dave.
Great. Am I okay? Coming in okay on the audio, Ryan?
Yep, all good.
Okay, cool. Great to meet everybody. I'm David Bachmeyer. I'm with Microsoft. I'm what's called an AI workforce specialist. That's kind of a fancy title for all the apps, and then our AI services as well, like Copilot that build on top of that. Am I still coming in okay, Ryan?
No.
Ryan, you're on mute.
Yeah, you got cut out for a second, but I think you're good now.
Okay. So I'm going to be demoing today what is really probably like a 100 or 150 level overview of what Copilot is. We'll go into various features and functions of Copilot. I'm going to talk about how Copilot works. I'm going to give some training on how to use Copilot, how to prompt effectively. And then hopefully for this audience, if it's useful, I'm going to share with you some great resources that you can use in your own then to go have a play with Copilot and think about how it will work for your various nonprofit organizations. And I'm going to keep video off because despite being a tech enthusiast, I am having a wonderful day with Wi-Fi at my house. So I'm going to keep the video off just to make sure I've got quality network. And that's coming in. Okay, Ryan, you can see the slide? Cool. Okay. So first, what is Copilot? Microsoft have slapped the name Copilot on everything. And I'm sure if you are paying attention to any of our products, it is hard to decipher what does Microsoft mean in its commercials and its branding of Copilot. We've got a Copilot for Microsoft 365, which is what I'm going to be going over today. We also have a Copilot for Dynamics, our CRM platform. We have a Copilot for Power BI, our data analytics platform. Not talking about any of that today. Today is just about Microsoft 365 Copilot. And you can see this alone is quite massive in capability. The Copilot solution is woven into all of the Microsoft 365 apps. It's woven into Teams. It has an agentic capability called Copilot Studio, where you can build agents agents on top of what you've got in Microsoft 365 to do unique things. It sits in the Edge browser. It sits in SharePoint, and then we've got some security Copilot capabilities as well. At the end of the day, the Microsoft 365 Copilot solution is really meant as your UI, your user interface into Microsoft AI and any AI capabilities that you extend it into. I want to talk just first a little bit about how Copilot works, so you understand the power that you've got at your hand with Copilot. So Copilot is built on something called Work IQ. So think about everything you've got in your Microsoft 365 ecosystem. All the emails, all the meetings. I know we're doing a Zoom meeting today. Shame on you, Ryan. But if we were doing a Teams meeting and we had a recording, that would be in Work IQ. All of the files you save in SharePoint, all the files you save in OneDrive, any data that you have in Dynamics 365, all of your PowerPoints, Word, Excel document, all of that is in the data layer of Work IQ. And Copilot Work IQ then takes that data and it builds context into that data. And context is key. It's sort of an always evolving layer of learned insights that helps Copilot understand how you work. It's based on explicit memory that you will actually build into the settings of Copilot. So you will give Copilot specific instructions about how you want it to behave, what you want it to remember, what you want it to sound like, what style patterns you have for communications, PowerPoints, Excel, Word documents. The more you work with Copilot, the more personalized it becomes, and it just builds that implicit memory into it. And that's key to the context thing. And then finally, something we're releasing recently is skills and tools, which tailors Copilot specific tasks for even faster responses and actions. Things like schedule a meeting and find and retrieve data from an external source, or access meeting details from transcripts. You can build those skills into Copilot on top of that. So this is an important context to understand. Work IQ Copilot is not just an AI chat tool. It's got this Work IQ awareness of everything that you've ever worked on, how you like to work, what you've told Copilot about it, or what Copilot has learned about you is built into what Copilot serves you up. And the large language models that we use to serve up the different Copilot experiences are not just built on what we are probably most known for, which is our relationship with OpenAI. We now embrace what's called model choice within the different Copilot experiences, which you'll see me show you here in a bit. So when you're using Copilot, you can choose between which large language model you want the output to be based on. And you'll see this in a model picker I'll show you in a minute here. But for example, if you love the way Claude develops PowerPoints, when you're in PowerPoint, you can pivot the model in Copilot to Claude Opus 4.7 or Claude Sonnet 4.5. And you can ensure that your outputs are using the Anthropic models that maybe you love for PowerPoints. If you wanted to use GPT 5.5 for reasoning when you're using Copilot Chat, you'll be able to pivot to that. So the point here is just know that Copilot is more of a platform. It's not a model, and it's using the best large language models out there to serve up the best experience based on whatever it is you're doing and what you tell it to do. The experience with Copilot starts in a variety of user interfaces. The one that I use the most is the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. So you can go to the Windows Store if you're using a Windows device. You can go to the App Store for Mac devices. You can download the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, and this will have the basic capabilities that most people will use AI for. So what people are used to using AI for: chat. I'm going to talk about what Pages is here in a minute. AI search, which is an AI search capability that uses natural language to allow you to search for anything that you've got access to within your Microsoft 365 environment. Agent building capabilities, content creation capabilities, and something new called notebooks. If you're familiar with like Notebook LLM from Google, it's sort of that thing. One distinguishing feature between the co-pilots that I'm talking about here is, if you see on the screen here, if you squint, you can see up at the top it says work and web. There is a free version of Copilot that is just grounded in web data. So if you've not purchased a Copilot subscription, but you use the Microsoft 365 apps, you will have access to a web-grounded version of Copilot. And what a web-grounded version of Copilot means is you can go into this app, you can chat with it, and it will give you responses based on web content you have access to. If you want the super powerful, cool Copilot that looks at all of your files, that understands your preferences, that understands your working style, you need the paid version of Copilot that then will trigger this work tab lighting up. There are some fantastic offers from Microsoft for nonprofits. I've seen some of the pricing we give. I work with some of the largest customers that Microsoft has in the world. I can tell you the pricing we're giving is almost as good, if not better in some cases, than Microsoft negotiates with huge customers. So we've put a great offer out there for nonprofits, which I'm sure you're familiar with the various vehicles that you can purchase that through. But that is just a key distinguishing feature I want to make sure you're clear on, is if you're looking at your own Copilot, if you don't have the paid version, you will just have a Copilot experience grounded in web. Most of what I'll be showing to you today is what is in the paid subscription, which gives you that work access as well. Any questions on that before I move on? I want to make sure that's clear so there's no confusion going into this. Cool. So starting with Copilot Chat. Copilot Chat is where you will spend most of your time in Copilot. This is where you go to get answers, to stay updated. You can create content. You can invoke agents. You can select different models that you want to use when you're using Copilot. This is kind of your home base within Copilot, and you can do most of whatever you want to do across the Microsoft 365 apps right here, including create PowerPoints, including Word documents, creating Excel spreadsheets, even editing them. All of that can begin and end right in this pane. And I'm going to just switch over to a different screen to show you what I mean by that. So if I pull this up here, I think you can all see my own Microsoft 365 service now. So here I am in mine, and this is my work one, so I'll be careful about what I share here. But you can see here, I could invoke, for example, PowerPoint. And I can begin to ask it to create a presentation based on my working with Ryan Peterson at Complear. And we'll just start this just for kicks so you can kind of see how this works. But what it will do is it will go into everything it knows about me and Ryan, our meetings. If we've had a Teams meeting, it was recorded, what we said in the meeting. And it will start to pull together all that context. And it will start with just some questions. What is the main purpose of this presentation? I just want to just do a quick project overview of what we're working on. And who is it for? Let's just say external stakeholders. select a length. Yeah, you figure it out, Copilot. I don't really know how long it needs to be. We'll just keep it on auto. If you want more visuals, balanced text, more text, I always like pictures.
There's any questions we can answer for you guys, I'm happy to jump in. We're not at the level of Dave's expertise, but we can address while we wait. And Ryan, while you get in touch with him, that's fine. So if you guys have so far any questions that we can answer, please feel free to either come off mute or write them on the chat. I'll be looking at those. First question, PowerPoint doesn't work for me. Yes, that means that you do not have your org-wide PowerPoint license plus Copilot enabled. So when you register for Microsoft 365, you get those, and you have the little icon to get access to Copilot, but that's not the embedded ones. You have to, it's an add-on. It's an extra license that you have to add to Microsoft 365 to get it available for your organization. But even within that, the admin needs to give you privileges to have that access. So that's probably the reason why you don't see it to the level that you were while Dave is showing the demo. To have that functionality, you need Copilot license on top of 365 license. Questions about agents. That is, we can spend hours on agents, but basically, it's a tech terminology, and agentic behavior or agents are AIs that are working for AIs. So instead of a chatbot where you send a question and you get an answer, an agent, you send a task and the agent executes the entire thing for you. Not just create a PowerPoint, but for example, I use agents when I'm working with my clients to do some data analysis. So Complear has agentic behaviors behind it that ran, validate, double check, bring you the answer, do the analysis. So that is agentic behavior. And yes, you can create your own agents when you're working with AI. Different topics that we can go deeper later. I can see Dave that he's back online now and it is ready to go. We can continue. But if you have more questions, please keep them coming on chat, and we'll try to answer them the best we can.
So I think I left you guys off on chat. I was showing you how the chat capability works in Copilot. Where I'm going to go next is the other features of the Copilot app. So again, this is the main Copilot app here. We just talked through chat. I demoed to you one thing that you can do in chat, which is you can actually just go in and create PowerPoint presentations by invoking the PowerPoint agent app, mentioning it. You can do the same thing with Excel. You can just ask Copilot Chat any question you want, and it's going to come up with that answer based on what it knows about you, what it knows about your work files, or what it knows about anything it's learned from the web. Very powerful tool. The next capability in Copilot that is useful to understand is called pages. And so when you are in Copilot and you are you're chatting with it and maybe asking it a question, it's going to return information to you. And perhaps you've all seen this in your own experience with just using ChatGPT. You start a dialogue with the AI service. Oftentimes that information is very valuable, and it's something that maybe you want to share. Maybe I'm asking Copilot about some information about Complear that I want to share with Ryan. What Pages is you can click on that content and create a canvas that you can share and collaborate against. Copilot Search, very powerful. Looks at everything that it knows about you, everything that it has access to, and instead of just going in and maybe asking, typing in a few words about what you're looking for, the point of of Copilot search is you can just use natural language and just describe to Copilot what you're looking for. Maybe you don't have the exact keyword or file name that you're looking for, but you're describing kind of what you want to look for, and Copilot will reason over everything it knows about you and your files, and serve up that information to you in a more natural way using natural language. Agents, and so I heard Fernando talking a little bit about agents. Agents are something you can build when you have a Copilot license as well. The point of an agent is maybe your interaction with chat gives you too broad of an answer, or too broad of a response. Maybe you want to be able to search for something or find information on something over and over again that you have to do as a repeatable process. Say, for example, you're given a PDF from your manager that every month you have to go through this PDF. You have to make sure you understand it. You have to pull out key points on it. And that's something that you're given as a task over and over again. An agent, you can build an agent that will do that consistently with the same outputs using Copilot. And so the way you do that is you go into the agent builder capability in Copilot, you give it a set of instructions, you feed it the PDF, and that agent will do that for you. You can share that agent with other employees. So if people find that that's useful, it's something that you can share with them, and they can sort of get access to the same thing. Agents are very, very powerful in that way. The next feature is Create. So Create is a feature. We've got the latest like Sora 2 models that are built into Copilot along with GPT 5.5. Create is a feature that allows you to create some really fantastic visuals from over 1,000 different templates. You can create your own brand kits. Marketing agencies would sort of kill to have this type of capability for themselves. Create is again in the Copilot.
It is easy to generate.
Actually, we'll play that video. Is that audio playing for you, Ryan?
It is easy to generate a video clip with Copilot.
Yes.
Okay.
When entering a prompt, you can be as specific as you want or need, or you can leave the creativity to Copilot. Copilot will then generate a short video clip with synchronized dialogue and sound effects. Lava core field. Go ahead. Smart fibers. Need to make an edit to your prompt. Easily update your prompt and regenerate your video clip. With video in Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can turn your files and ideas into shareable content to communicate information clearly.
Very cool. And then the last of the Copilot app features that I'm going to walk through today is Voice in Microsoft 365 Copilot. Voice is probably my favorite feature and also the most annoying feature to my family. What Voice is it's the ability to click on a button when you're using Copilot and just have a conversation with it. And so, I've used this like when I've been in the hotel at night preparing for my next day at work. You can invoke the Voice button either on the mobile app or on the device, and use it almost like as an admin or an assistant to tell you what's on the schedule for the next day. Maybe you want to talk through some strategies about meetings that are coming up. Maybe you wanted to critique an approach you want to take to a conversation. Again, it's going to use everything it knows about you, your files, everything it's learned from the web, and have a very intelligent conversation with you on those topics. The advantage is hopefully pretty obvious. Keying in thoughts requires effort. Being able to talk through it, very freeing, and you'll find very natural too. The voice is sort of not robotic, very human-like, and obviously extremely intelligent with everything it knows about you. We'll just let this play.
Hi, Copilot. Hey there. When's my next Zava review? Is Amber going to be there? Your next Zava review is Thursday at 4 p.m. Yes, Amber Rodriguez is on the invite list.
What emails has she sent me recently?
Amber forwarded you an update on the smart fiber feature and the timeline shift.
Okay, thanks.
You got it.
What else should I be thinking about? How about the latest trends in fitness technology for shoes?
Sure, the latest fitness shoe trends are smart sensors, eco-friendly materials, and custom fits using 3D printing and AI.
Great, thank you. That's all for now.
So you can see they're very natural, intelligent, quick, knowledgeable about what you're working on. Again, something available right in the Copilot app, whether you're on your device or mobile, with the service. The last item I don't want it to get lost on is Copilot in meetings. And I know I joked about this meeting being in Zoom, but I double click on this for a reason. Most of our day as information workers is spent doing what we're doing right now in meetings. I think I've seen a stat that says since 2020, and COVID drove us to this behavior, but we're in 3 times as many online meetings since 2020 as we were prior to. The world has gone very digital, and if you are somebody that sits at a keyboard all day, you understand the burden of being in meetings back to back to back to back. Being able to stay present in those meetings, take notes, catch up for missed meetings, very disruptive. Our survey participants say that meetings are the #1 most disruptive thing to their workday every day. And so being able to use AI to assist in what's being said in a meeting, prep for a meeting, or recap what was said after a meeting, enormously helpful. What I'm showing here is a screenshot of what an AI meeting recap looks like using Copilot. And so you can see here we're in the Teams app. The app pinned on the left, we're in the Calendar app. So the way you get to a recap, actually I'll start from just how do you do a recap. So if you were in a meeting, if you're in a Teams meeting and the meeting was recorded or transcribed, the recap is automatically going to get put right into the calendar appointment. And so to get access to it, you'd go back to the calendar, you'd go to the meeting, and you'd open up the recap. You can see up here at the top, the recap button. And so what's in the recap? The recap captures notes that are typically topic oriented from what was said during the meeting. It will capture all the actions from the meeting. If you were mentioned during the meeting, you'll be able to click on this tab here, and the AI will pick up like when Ryan, Bruna, etc. are mentioned during the meeting, and you'll be able to click on that and go right to the point of the recording where you were mentioned. If there was any chat in the meeting, all the chat is captured. And then the AI will do a couple creative things with the recording overall. Not only will it obviously give you the full recording of the meeting, as you can see here, it inserts the at button wherever you were mentioned, so you can go right to those. It will AI generate chapters to the meeting. So if you're not sure you want to listen to the whole meeting over again, but you just want to kind of understand it from how AI would actually write books of a chapter for it, you could actually just click on different chapters. And then it also organizes the meeting by topics as well. So this is viewed as the biggest time saver in Copilot, is from being able to just catch up on a meeting in the notes. It's from all the telemetry that Microsoft has. This is the most frequently used capability. Just want to make sure that you are fully aware of this as well. So that's my quick tour of what Copilot is and how to use it. If we go back to the first slide, you can see that we've really only dusted off what's in Copilot. We've got an hour on this call. We could probably talk for another 2 hours if we really wanted to go through all this, but those are like the major capabilities within Copilot. I'm going to go through next just a couple tips on how to.
Hey, Dave, hold on a second. Someone's coming off mute to ask a question.
Okay.
Did somebody say something? Feel free to ask your question.
It might have been the audio in one of my slides, Ryan, kicking
Oh,
up.
got you. Sorry.
Just be
Well,
quiet.
just
Yeah.
let's pause there for a second. Are there questions? Like Dave said, it has a lot of capacity inside your work suite. Um, and you want to make sure if there's like specific use cases that you want Dave to get to in the next 15 minutes that's on the table. Not that we, want to get too focused in on a really niche thing. If people are enjoying this sort of high level, we'll keep going. MM asks on the chat, would you use the AI to eliminate the section where Brian ran away and there was space and silence? I don't know what that question is, but MM, oh, Scott, you're raising your hand. How about you? Come off mute and ask your question. Are you there, Scott? I see your hand up. Okay. All right, Dave, you can keep rolling. Oh, we couldn't hear
Okay,
you.
cool.
Wait. Okay. You can keep rolling, Dave. I'll get Scott's question, then we'll jump back
Okay.
in.
Yeah, just jump in with any questions. There's a lot in Copilot. Ask Benji's got a question.
Hi, that's my non-organization name. My name is Graciela. I did have a
Okay.
quick question.
Yeah.
When it comes to the AI generated PowerPoints, I work with students who do a
Yes.
lot of financial aid, and I just did one in the gap we had to pull up a FAFSA presentation. But you were talking about that you could pull up a presentation based on like the contents within your Copilot profile. So if I'm able
Yes.
to pull up just a general FAFSA one, does that mean like I have a different tier of Microsoft service? Like, is that a secondary tier, or did I just not prompt it correctly to pull the information out of my profile from Copilot, what I've already put in for the last year? Because it was just a very general FAFSA one. It didn't incorporate like all the things that I've put into it, like Arizona statistics of FAFSA and like the project that I'm part of, Ask Benji. Does that
Did
question make
you
sense?
include it does make sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Did you in your prompt, and actually funnily enough, we're going to get into prompting here next. Did
Okay.
you include in the prompt that information that you were hoping it would capture in the PowerPoint?
I put it very general, and I'm like, based on everything I've put into, I basically said, please summarize all the financial aid statistics that I've put in, but it gave me a very general financial aid statistics. And I've put in stats for our state. So I was thinking that it would pull those statistics. So maybe it was just my prompt engineering, but someone had mentioned that sometimes you have to have a tier of service to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the PowerPoint. So I'm like, wait,
Yep.
are we just in the lower tier where it's only going to do general and it's not going to do that intuitive? But maybe it is just my prompting. I'll try it again.
It it's a great. This is the most important question, because the Copilot licensing can be confusing. So I understand why you're confused. There are two tiers of licenses. There is a free tier, which is a Copilot license that's included in your Microsoft 365 service, and that's just like all that's doing is is answering questions or prompts that you put in with what it knows about the topic from the internet. That's all it's doing. It's just saying, okay, very good question. I'm going to go look out in the internet and try to come back to you with some sort of an answer. The paid version of Copilot, which I've been going through here, that is the one that will look at everything it knows about you, everything it knows about any work files that you have access to, any files you have stored in your OneDrive, and it will also then like take that information and create the document that you're looking for. To create the PowerPoint, I don't know if you saw what I had done before in the chat app, but I had to actually mention PowerPoint. So I had to invoke PowerPoint in the chat. I just say @PowerPoint. So that started off the presentation process. Did you get to that piece of it? Did you get to that step by chance?
Yes, because then it did present me a PowerPoint. But I'm going back and adding all the other parts like the source, like specifically noting
Yeah.
the chat source that I'm pulling from. So I'm going
Yes.
to add more to it based on this slide that I'm seeing right here.
Gotcha. Okay, and this is great timing because you're asking some questions about like how do I get a good output, and that is the perfect segue into why prompting is so important. And it sounds like you've done a lot of the right things here, but let me just talk a little bit about what a good prompt is, and hopefully that will help solve the challenge you're dealing with. So we use a methodology at Microsoft called GCSE, goal, context, source, and expectation. So these are the 4 key ingredients. If you include this in every prompt, you'll get really good outputs from wherever you're using Copilot. Goal is, the immediate question is, how is a goal different than expectations? A goal is, what is the end result that what is the end game that you're really looking to accomplish here, rather than just the information you're looking for from Copilot. And the reason that question is important is you'll be surprised at how complete of an answer Copilot can give it if you really open up to it and tell it exactly what you're trying to do. Maybe not exactly the answer you're looking for, but like what's the end game. Context is tell Copilot who it's for, who's involved in this, what's the situation. Source might be the answer to the question you're asking. So source is like, what information or samples of data should Copilot use when it's answering your question? And the way you trigger source authoritatively in Copilot is you hit this slash button. You see when I hit slash there, it starts to bring up people it knows about me, people that know about me, files that I have access to, meetings that I've sat in that have been recorded, all of my emails. So when you ground your prompt on a source, it will help target Copilot's processing power specifically at whatever it is you want it to look at. And you can see it, you can ground Copilot in a whole set of data. Websites maybe you have access to, maybe some chat that you're having internally, or other things. But grounding your prompt in the source is very helpful because each Copilot prompt has limited processing capacity, and so you want to kind of talk. And then expectation, like what are you looking for? Are you looking for a presentation? Are you looking for an email summary? Are you looking just for some analysis? And so an example of a prompt is this goal. I want to generate 3 to 5 bullet points. Context: to prepare for a meeting with client X to discuss their phase 3 brand campaign. The expectation is I want it to focus on email and chats only. Source, since June. I just, I thought that was funny with expectations. Yeah. Expectation, please use simple language so I can get up to speed quickly. Source, focus on email and chats since June. And in this case, this example here, while this is great, it's sort of descriptive, and we'll provide these slides afterwards. It would have been even more powerful in this example if you saw the slash and we actually like grounded the source on specific files. A lot of information to kind of digest. I'll provide these 10 after the meeting. These are great. Like, try these 10 first when you're using Copilot. These are 10 things that Copilot does really well that will start to give you a feel for what it's capable of. And if that isn't helpful enough, these 3 links will really start helping you get started as well. And I'm going to go to the Copilot scenario library to begin with. So the Copilot scenario library is Microsoft have documented all the different ways that Copilot helps people in their jobs. What jobs? People in marketing, people in sales, people that have HR roles. Maybe you're an executive. Maybe you have a group of users that have accessibility needs. Maybe you're trying to help your organization become more sustainable. Click into these. And Microsoft have documented different workflows within, in this case, marketing. You want to execute a marketing campaign. Here's some examples of workflows that somebody might do to execute a marketing campaign. Let's go to the product launch one, for example. I want to plan and execute a marketing, a product launch. It will break down the steps that somebody will go through to do a product launch. And these are generic steps, and they're meant to be customized for, your own situation. But it'll kind of walk you through what those logical steps are, and then give you even like sample prompts that you can use along the way to execute each step to do the product launch faster. And nice visuals are there for each one of them. So if you're kind of like looking for inspiration on where can I start to use Copilot beyond Dave's try 10 first? Like, what about me and my job? What about me as my role as somebody in finance? Go to this site, and great inspiration on different ways you can use Copilot to fast track different processes that you go through over and over again. So Ryan, that brings us to the end of the flyby tour of Copilot. Happy to open up the forum for any additional questions.
Yeah, let's see what questions people have. I know common questions are often security, accessibility, and especially since this is a nonprofit and philanthropy group, if there are specific use cases on reporting, writing, analysis, evaluation, drafting grant proposals, or reviewing grant proposals, feel free to come off mute and ask those questions, or throw it in the chat. I know Scott asked a question about what is the art/video capacity like in Sora, which I would imagine is a question about how extensive of a like database of art and video does it pull from, so you don't end up with everybody having the same sort of feel.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Scott gave thumbs up. So yeah, you want to speak to that, Dave?
Yeah. I guess the way I would describe Sora inside of Copilot is not, I wouldn't call it necessarily an art tool. It's more of like a video generation capability. It lets you create realistic AI generated video clips from text prompts that you write inside the Microsoft 365 Copilot tool. It's powered by OpenAI's Sora 2 model. And if you have a Copilot license, yeah, you've got access to it.
Awesome. I want to just encourage people, no question is too basic of a question or too dumb of a question. And Will and I talk about this in our other sessions of everybody is just getting started in this. And so make sure, don't diminish whatever thought might be coming to your mind because I'm in meetings every day with philanthropic leaders, nonprofit leaders, and everybody's just getting started. So I hope this is like on a use case level, on day-to-day meeting tracking, scheduling, document editing is useful. One thing that I've done in Copilot, as mostly a test case, is take an idea I have about a program, uh, gather information about it, turn that into a sort of briefing in Word, and then have Word turn that into a PowerPoint by just linking the file into the PowerPoint or into Copilot as a sort of create the PowerPoint based on this outline, which so I think the transferability of that is like whether you're doing reporting for a board meeting, or looking at outcome data from your programs, taking raw information, using the chat interface to turn it into an organization in Word, and then turning it into a presentation. What normally would take hours, if not a couple weeks of producing and reviews, you can accomplish within minutes once you get the steps done and get to a draft a lot faster. And so those are some of the things I've tried in sort of maximizing how I get to a PowerPoint. Like I know the outcome is a PowerPoint, but first I need information, I need it organized, I may need to edit it, and then I need to put it into a deck. Okay. Any thoughts, questions, any sort of, comparisons people want to call out that maybe they've been using Copilot in Microsoft and they're wondering like why, how is Copilot different than another platform? Any of that's fair game.
One thing I'll stress, Ryan, from a security and compliance perspective is if your organization uses Microsoft 365 and maybe you've uploaded files in SharePoint to collaborate with your colleagues on, Copilot respects the same access rights as you do as an individual to files that are stored inside of SharePoint, inside of OneDrive, inside of your organization. So in simpler terms, if you don't have access to a file, Copilot doesn't have access to a file. So Copilot doesn't have, unlimited access and unlimited visibility to everything inside your organization. That's important because there's a lot of sensitive things in there that just aren't meant for your eyes or for various reasons. Copilot's access is limited to the same access that you have as an individual.
Yeah. Awesome, Dave. The most common question we get in other sessions is generally security. So how do we know we're secure in this? I tend to tell people like, well, Microsoft, makes its bet on keeping people's information secure. So, but, is there a statement you make about how secure is Copilot if it's going to the web and accessing my information, all that?
Yep. So while the first one I touched on is just your organization's information is secure in that you as an individual won't have unfettered access to anything that is out there. The second is Microsoft does not train its models on your data or your prompts. So we're not looking at your IP and training our models or giving it to OpenAI or to Anthropic and letting them train their models on your data. Anything within your organization is secure and it's yours and it's your IP. And we that is in our product terms for our service. That's not true with all AI services. Many of the model providers are very clear that they are going to use the information that you serve up to it to train their models. That's how OpenAI got to where it's at. is that it started as a free for all. Microsoft does not do that, and we could not do that and operate with enterprises like we do if we did. That would just be a complete non-starter. So I say that just you should feel safe and secure, not just because I say it, but because it's in our product terms.
Does Copilot learn the user as it operates within its profile? So does it have memory of like, okay, Will is doing this over and over again. This is something he does. I'm going to make sure I learn that the way he does that so I can better respond next time.
You can enable Copilot's ability to learn behaviors via memory. You can also give Copilot instructions on what it wants to remember about you as it serves up information. So you can go on the offensive and be explicit instead of waiting for it to implicitly respond. You can give it explicit instructions on how you want it to respond or what you want it to remember in that way. So yes, it does have that ability. But again, from a organizational IP perspective, it's not going to be learning your IP and training our models and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I'll ask a question that I usually get from meetings that I have with leaders, a little bit in terms of the cost. Is the license include the usage? Because when you go directly to OpenAI, when you go directly to Anthropics, there is a token, right? So the more you use the tool, the more PowerPoints you create, the more videos you try to generate, the cost gets past the monthly fee. Is that something to watch for with Copilot? Is that something that organizations like philanthropists and nonprofits should be budgeting and thinking about as well?
What you're describing is probably one of the biggest advantages of Copilot is that you're not going to get charged on a per token basis when using Copilot if you have a Copilot license. So I think like the nonprofit pricing for Copilot is something like $25.50 per user per month for the Copilot license, and that gives you unlimited access to all the models that are available in all the different Copilot experiences that I've described at a flat per user per month fee without any overage charges. So if you're really hitting the service hard and you're doing a lot of Opus 4.7 PowerPoint creations, you're not going to see an additional consumption charge on top of the license fee. Now we have usage limits, but those limits are the same that you would see directly from an Anthropic or an OpenAI. Like there's token limits per context window and things like that they're no better with us. We're still beholden to the same limits that those providers have, but you get those in a flat per user per month fee perspective. And that will, not to overdo the point here, but we are absolutely seeing companies get bit on the point you're describing, where if they enter into an agreement directly with one of the large language model providers that's consumption based, it looks great at first because it's just per token fee, but wow, does that add up quick? It can really get you. So yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah. Awesome. We're at time. Dave, thank you so much for making the time, being a resource. I hope people got some value out of this. I did put in the chat really quickly a link to our other free sessions coming up, as well as the 3-session series we're launching in a few weeks. And then come check CompClear out. And then on this Friday, if you want to actually check CompClear, the tool out, I'm doing a live walkthrough with a handful of people. So if you want to join that and actually see that tool, come join me. Thank you all for your time. We're happy to have you. We're here to be a resource. Circle back with us if you have more questions and we can help.